Have you ever wondered why some people seem to receive everything without struggle, while others fight endlessly just to move an inch forward? What if I told you it has nothing to do with luck and everything to do with energy? Something brought you here, not by chance, not out of coincidence, but through a quiet, invisible pull that even you might not fully understand yet. The moment you were drawn to this message, your energy began to shift. Something inside you, beneath the thoughts, beneath the noise, recognized that this isn't just another teaching. It's a remembering. Something ancient inside you stirred the moment you arrived, and even without saying a word, you've already begun activating a hidden force, one that has been waiting patiently for your stillness. You haven't done anything yet. No rituals, no affirmations, no effort. And yet, your field is changing, not because you tried to shift it, but because your soul knew it was time. You are now touching something humanity has forgotten, a truth that was once protected, hidden in silence, passed down through vibration rather than instruction. A secret that says, you don't have to force life to move. You simply have to remember how to align with it. Thoth, the ancient master, didn't create by doing. He created through being, through pure vibration. In one of the old records passed through mystery schools, it said that he sat in complete stillness. No words, no motion, just silence. And reality responded. It bent to his energy, not because he demanded it, but because he matched it. That is what you're beginning to feel right now. Even if you can't name it, you can feel that something within you is slowly reorganizing. But before you can fully unlock it, we need to expose the single biggest lie that's been quietly sabotaging your energy. The belief that effort equals worthiness. You were taught that only through struggle do you earn success. That if you want something, you have to work for it, suffer for it, exhaust yourself for it. This belief is so deeply woven into your nervous system that it feels normal. But it is not truth. In fact, it's the very vibration that keeps you disconnected from what's already meant for you. Effort, by itself, is not the problem. But when effort comes from fear, urgency, or lack, it becomes resistance. Most people are trying to manifest from a place of anxiety, rushing to beat time, to control outcomes, to force doors open. And even though they say the right affirmations or follow all the steps, nothing changes. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you vibrate. And what you vibrate is shaped by the quiet emotions behind your actions. You could be visualizing peace while your heart is racing in panic. You could be praying for abundance while your body holds the tension of not enough. The field hears that. It responds not to your wishes, but to your wiring. And this is the great trap, the golden prison. You feel like you're doing everything right, being productive, being disciplined, staying strong. But what you're really doing is spinning in resistance, circling in a loop of not yet, still waiting, still chasing. You are busy on the surface, but blocked underneath. Thoth spoke of this in the principle of polarity. Every force creates its opposite. Every strong intention rooted in fear creates an equal resistance. The more you try to force a dream, the more reality pushes it away. Because force vibrates absence. It says, I don't have it yet. And so, the universe echoes that back. This is why even with all your effort, nothing moves. You're vibrating the very thing you're trying to avoid. You don't need to stop acting, but you do need to stop acting from fear. The goal isn't to give up on movement, but to give up on tension, to stop carrying that internal pressure that says, if I don't do it all now, I'll miss everything. That's not flow. That's fear, and fear tightens the field. Thoth knew that action without alignment is chaos, so he taught his disciples to pause, to sit in silence before doing anything. Because if the action doesn't come from stillness, it comes from confusion, and what is born in confusion dissolves into confusion. This is why so many people don't understand why they're stuck. They've studied, they've planned, they've worked hard, but their energy is still racing ahead of itself, built on a foundation of urgency and fear. Until you address that core vibration, no surface effort will bring lasting results. But the moment you see the trap for what it is, just a belief, not a law, something opens. You feel the pressure start to loosen. Your body softens. Your breath deepens. You begin to dissolve resistance not through more doing, but through less. You stop pushing, and something mysterious begins to move towards you. Thoth left a hidden code in the subtext of his teachings, a sacred moment before manifestation begins, a space so subtle, most people never notice it. It comes before the thought, before the desire, before the urge to act. It's not something you think, it's something you feel, a stillness that speaks louder than any affirmation. When you enter this space, you're not hoping anymore, you're knowing, not chasing anymore, you're trusting. And from that place, things begin to organize around you, not because you forced them, but because you stopped blocking them. You let the field breathe. You stop trying to control the how, when, or what, and let the frequency of your presence do the work. This isn't passive surrender. This is active magnetism, a deep, clear, grounded surrender that says, I don't need to beg for what's mine. I don't need to chase what's already seeking me. This surrender opens the gate to pre-manifestation, the vibrational doorway where energy begins to crystallize into form. And there's a way to sustain that state, to expand it, to ground it into your daily life so it's not just a rare experience, but your new default. The ancients preserved this practice through silence. They didn't teach it in words. They passed it through presence, through a sacred gesture, a gesture with no name, but great power. One hand rests gently over your heart, activating presence, coherence, awareness. The other hand lowers softly toward the earth, palm open, anchoring that vibration into the physical world. No requests, no demands, just a silent message. I trust, I accept, I remember. This gesture is a mirror of your inner frequency. It signals to the universe that you are no longer operating from lack, that you're no longer trying to prove your worth. You are simply becoming a vessel, a living signal, a carrier of the vibration that already matches what you seek. And something begins to shift. You feel it. Your breath slows. The noise quiets. The need to hurry disappears. You're not asking anymore. You're receiving. And the universe listens. Not because of the gesture itself, but because of the state you entered when you made it. You stepped out of seeking and into certainty. You shifted from trying to trusting, from controlling to allowing. And before long, The field starts to echo back. Synchronicities appear. Messages arrive. Ideas flow. Peace fills you without a reason. The world reorganizes not because you worked harder, but because you aligned deeper. You've entered the state of magnetic presence, and everything changes from here. This is the space where reality draws closer, not with force, but with grace. And you didn't need to chase it. You just needed to remember it. There comes a moment when you finally see it, not out in the world, but within yourself. A quiet realization that maybe, just maybe, the very thing you've been searching for has been pushed away by your own energy. And as that truth sinks in, it hurts. Not because it's cruel, but because it makes you question everything you once believed. You followed all the steps, tried all the methods, repeated all the affirmations, visualized your desires, yet they still didn't arrive. And now you realize it wasn't because you were doing it wrong, but because your vibration, the energy underneath all your effort, was moving in the opposite direction. Thoth called this the inverted field, a state where, no matter how right your actions seem, they end up creating the opposite of what you want. A vibrational reversal so subtle that most people never notice it. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't appear in your words. It hides in your emotional frequency, beneath your thoughts, beneath your goals. It shows up in the way you feel while you act. You might say you want love, but deep down, your energy is still vibrating with fear of rejection. You say you want success, but your field is full of doubt, lack, and fear of failure. You say you want peace, but your body is vibrating with tension and anxiety. The universe doesn't listen to your words. It listens to your vibration. That's why effort often doesn't work the way we expect. When you try harder, push more, plan more, fix more, thinking it will bring results, you often move further away from what you want. Not because trying is bad, but because the energy behind the trying is tense, desperate, controlling. It's coming from a place of lack, fear, or resistance. And energy doesn't lie. The inverted field forms when there's too much desire, too much thinking, too much grasping. It forms when you think something is missing and try to fill the gap. It forms when you think something is wrong and try to force a solution. And that energy, the energy of urgency, of panic, of control, sends a message to the field. I don't trust. I don't believe it's already mine. I need to do something to earn it, fix it, control it. And the field responds exactly to that signal. Not to your words, not to your goals, but to your energy. It responds to who you are in that moment. This is the part where most people start to feel defeated. When you realize your own energy has been pushing away what you've been working so hard to attract, it can feel like a spiritual punch to the chest. It's easier to say the world is unfair, that life is random, that others are just luckier than you. But once you know this truth, once you feel it, you can't unknow it. And that's when something shifts. That's when the mirror turns back to you. And instead of blaming the outside, you begin to examine your inner world. Thoth said the universe doesn't punish or reward, it reflects. And if the reflection looks off, it's not the mirror's fault. You don't smash the mirror. You adjust what's being shown in it. You adjust you. You may already know this feeling. That experience of wanting something so badly, trying so hard, doing all the right things, and yet the thing you want keeps slipping away. And then one day, you stop trying, you give up, you rest, you let go, and suddenly, out of nowhere, it arrives. The answer, the opportunity, the person, not because you gave up, but because you finally stopped pushing against it. You dropped the resistance. You exited the inverted field. That's not a coincidence. That's how the field works. The more you grasp, the more things contract. The more you soften, the more they flow. It's not about giving up your dreams. It's about letting go of the tightness in your energy that says, I don't have it yet. That energy of not enough is what repels the very thing you're calling in. This is the quiet wisdom most people never hear. That control is often the obstacle. That urgency is the block. That the very desire to make something happen can become the reason it doesn't. And when you see this, you reach a powerful moment, the point of surrender, a silent threshold, not marked by any sign or ritual, just a quiet moment inside your soul where you stop needing to understand, predict, or prove anything. You let go, not because you're tired, but because you finally understand. You surrender, not to life's chaos, but to the deeper order that has always been guiding everything. And when you cross that invisible threshold, the energy shifts. The gears turn differently. Life begins to move, gently but surely, in your favor. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped interfering. You moved out of the way. And the field, so intelligent, so precise, begins to respond. You might receive a call you weren't expecting. A situation that once felt stuck suddenly opens. An answer arrives without you asking. The field moves. Not loudly, not dramatically, but softly, like a breeze changing direction. That's not random. That's the result of your alignment. What activates this new flow is not force. It's not hustle. It's not more affirmations. It's presence. It's the stillness within you that says, I am okay right now. I'm not chasing. I'm not lacking. I'm not waiting. I am. That state carries a vibration that is irresistible to the universe because it's coherent. It's whole. It's magnetic. This is the frequency that the ancients recognized. Thoth called it the flow of K, the movement of the universe that pulls everything into order effortlessly once you align with it. And as you step into this state, something beautiful happens. You stop needing to ask. You no longer say, I trust. You trust. You don't say, it's already mine. You feel as if it already is. That's the difference between talking about alignment and actually living in it. This shift is subtle, but it changes everything. In the ancient Egyptian schools, this moment of surrender was the real sign that someone was ready to step into a higher level of power. Not the power of control, but the power of presence. The shift from seeking power to being it. When you reach that point, your vibration becomes your prayer. You no longer try to get. You radiate. And what is meant for you begins to come. This flow, this frequency, is called Ket. Not just a symbol or idea, but a real energy, a vibrational quality so pure, so still, that everything in harmony with it is drawn to it. It doesn't chase. It doesn't demand. It simply exists in such peaceful alignment that life begins to organize itself around it. And the true master doesn't seek. He vibrates. He lives in coherence. And what matches him naturally finds its way to him. No effort, no push, no force, just pure alignment. And when your body enters this flow, it feels different. It's not a rush of excitement. It's not euphoria. It's a deep calm, like every part of you finally knows it's safe to stop running. And this inner stillness reorganizes your outer world. You don't need rituals. You don't need to beg or plead. Thoth left clues, not rules. Breathe slowly. Quiet your mind. Allow your thoughts to rest. And let yourself feel the space between everything. That's where the field begins to hum. That's where the music is already playing, waiting for you to tune in. And the more you stay in that vibration, the more powerful it becomes. Your energy stabilizes. It starts to speak the language of the universe. You no longer say, "I want this." You become someone who already has it. And that state cannot be denied. That's when flow begins. Thoth left a sacred symbol for this. A visual of two interwoven energy fields. One rising, one descending, meeting in perfect balance at the center. It was a reminder that flow doesn't come from the outside. It comes from your center, from your inner state. And when that inner balance is sealed, your field activates. It becomes not only magnetic, but protected. You begin to notice that people hear you differently. That stuck situations begin to move. That time feels more flexible. That closed doors open on their own. That's not chance. That's resonance. Your vibration is so clear, so grounded, so coherent, that the universe has no choice but to respond. This is the moment where many people get scared, because what they tried to make happen for years suddenly begins arriving effortlessly. And the mind doesn't trust it. It says, "This is luck. It's not real. It won't last." And in that doubt, they sabotage the flow. They fall back into effort. They try to control again. And the field starts to close. The alignment fades. The energy contracts. Because the field only stays open for those who stay open within themselves. Thoth's final teaching was this: flow, don't force, and the world will bend to your being. If you can stay still even when the mind screams, if you can trust even without proof, if you can stay aligned even when nothing makes sense, then something rare begins to happen. Your entire field shifts. You stop sending out signals of need, fear, and control. You start radiating a calm, grounded, magnetic presence. And in that presence, the universe delivers. You become what the ancients called the golden receptacle, not just in theory, in body, in spirit, in vibration. Anxiety disappears, not because everything is guaranteed, but because you no longer need guarantees. Doubt fades, not because you figured it all out, but because your energy no longer depends on figuring it out. You are aligned. You are still. You are vibrating truth. And then, the right person appears. The right path unfolds. The right answers arrive. Not because you searched harder, but because they were always meant to meet you. Once you stop chasing, you're no longer the seeker. You become the one who is sought. What once felt scarce now arrives with ease, not as a miracle, but as a natural response to your coherence. And yet, there's one sacred law that must not be forgotten. Once you activate this state, you cannot use it to control outcomes. The moment you try to use your vibration to get something, you fall out of alignment. Because wanting means you believe it's not here yet. And that energy creates resistance again. This state only holds when you are fully present, when you stop waiting, when you stop needing, when you live as if the miracle already happened, as if the blessing is already here, as if you are already whole. And that is the true meaning of surrender, the law of non-effort. Not a suggestion, not a trick, a sacred law of energy. You don't create flow. You become it, and the universe does the rest. This is the real structure of the universe. It's not loud or chaotic. It's not something your mind can figure out or control. It's a quiet, powerful mechanism that only activates when you stop trying to force things. It doesn't respond to pressure, impatience, or mental effort. It doesn't work through logic or plans. It works through energy, through vibration, through alignment. And the more you push, the more it pulls away. The more you try to make something happen by force, the more it slips through your fingers. Not because you're being punished, but because this deeper law of the universe can only respond to inner harmony. It doesn't respond to fear, desperation, or control. It responds to coherence. It mirrors what you are on the inside. It reflects your frequency with exact precision. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't bend to willpower. It moves only with the truth of your being. Now that this energetic field within you has been activated, you're starting to notice things around you shift. Subtly, but clearly. What once avoided you is now making its way closer. What once seemed far and unreachable is beginning to show up in unexpected ways. Without effort, without a chase. You're not pushing anymore. You're not desperate. You're not begging for signs. You've stopped running after what you want. And because of that, it's finding its way to you. You're in a different state now. You've moved from seeking into receiving, from effort into embodiment, from fear into presence. And in this space, you begin to understand something, not just with your mind, but with your body, with your spirit, with every part of you. You understand something no book could have taught you. No video, no technique, no step-by-step guide could have given you this. Because this isn't about learning. It's about becoming. You've become what you were trying to attract. You've shifted into the frequency that calls things in naturally. The forbidden technique that so many people seek was never a secret method. It was never a formula. It was never a shortcut to manipulate reality. It was a vibration, a way of being, a natural state where life begins to bend toward you, not because you're trying harder, but because you're finally aligned. In this space, things unfold without resistance. You no longer have to chase love, success, peace, or purpose. You become it. And when you become it, everything meant for you is drawn in like a magnet. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to be louder or faster or busier. You just need to stay in the stillness of your truth. Now that this energy has awakened within you, you may feel tempted to go back to pressure, back to hustle, back to overthinking. Your mind may try to convince you that you need to speed up again, that you're falling behind. that you're missing something. But deep down, you know better now. You've felt the difference. You've experienced what it means to be in the flow, to be in harmony, to move through life with intention, not urgency, with trust, not fear, with clarity, not confusion. And right now, what you've been asking for is already on its way. What you've been longing for is already moving toward you, not because you're forcing it, but because you've become the version of yourself who is ready to receive it. And if you're still here, reading these words, it's not by accident. This message resonated with something deep inside you, something timeless, something true, something that remembered. So now, take a moment to affirm that shift. Write in the comments, I entered the flow. This simple phrase isn't just symbolic. It's not just words. It's an activation. It's a spiritual signal, a moment of agreement between your heart and your reality. And every single person who writes those words joins in this energetic field we're building together. Every voice adds power. Every declaration strengthens the collective intention to live in alignment, to stop forcing, to start flowing, to remember. And if this message touched your spirit and you feel moved to support this work, if you want more people to receive this kind of clarity and peace, there's a link in the first pinned comment where you can contribute. Every offering, big or small, helps this message reach more people who are ready to wake up to their own power and presence. Your support helps spread this light. Also, there's a video now showing up on your screen. It's not random. It's the next step. That video will take you even deeper into this energy, into this truth, into this flow. It was created for this exact moment, and you'll know it the second you press play. So click it. Let's go there together. Let the journey continue. You don't need to chase anymore. You don't need to rush. You're already in the flow, and what's meant for you has already started moving your way.